debate?
Ah, yes.
All right. What's your name, age, and pronouns?
David, 23. He, him, I. Whatever works.
All right. David, what do you disagree with on the board?
So what is the gender affirming care for minors? Are you trying to say like insurance, like the government should pay for it, or it should be okay?
Well,
What
I
are you
do
trying to
think
say?
that all healthcare should be paid for via a public option. So, like, technically, but like, it's just saying that anybody under the age of 18 who needs gender affirming care should be able to access gender affirming care without that access being stripped away by the federal or state governments.
Thank you, Boo.
Oh, so it's like don't take the rights away to do it is kind of what you're saying.
Correct.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Don't take the right. I like the where you're going with. Don't take the right away the rights to do it. I'm totally okay with. Like, I'm not okay with them taking away choice. Not trying to pivot here either. But the gender affirming care I would disagree with. I mean, I would argue why couldn't you take it after 18? You know what I mean?
Well,
Because
because there
they
are
make a lot of money on
irreversible.
all this gender affirming care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so let me not irreversible. Let's just walk through something like really important here, right? If I have a child who is
Mhm.
under the age of 18 and they've yet to go through puberty, their bodies, like prepubescent boy and prepubescent girl bodies, tend to look the same, right? Because they haven't undergone puberty and that puberty hasn't changed things about them. Let's say I have somebody who's a trans woman and she wasn't able to get gender affirming care, so she went through male puberty as a child. Well, now it's going to cost her a lot
Mhm.
more money to reverse the effects of that puberty through gender affirming surgeries, gender affirming healthcare, things like that. It's actually, if our issue is like, oh, they're profiting off of kids, they're actually make way more of a profit if you wait, because they're able to charge you way more
Hmm.
money in doing like facial feminization surgery, which you may not need if you don't undergo male puberty. You might not get you might not need what is it called, like laser hair removal, right? Because you will have not gone through male puberty, so you're
Hmm.
not gonna have as much excess hair via like testosterone and stuff like that. Like it's, if we're just gonna complain that like it's they're making money, first and foremost, my whole point of like making it a free public option, that dissuades that right there, right? Because no one's making money
Hmm.
off of this, right? But if our
Hmm.
issue is like the profiteering, they're gonna profit more if you wait. They would actually profit way more if you wait.
Hmm. I mean, how much more profit would they make if you just started at 18 instead of doing it at 13?
Surgeries are way more profitable than prescription drugs. Like, you got to be looking at like
You can't do prescription drugs at 18.
like, no, well, you can, but here's the thing: the
Right?
purpose of HRT when you're young is so your body doesn't
Uh
go
huh.
through the physical changes of the puberty of like I said, if you're a woman, a trans woman, your body doesn't
Right.
go through the physical changes of male puberty. Reversing those physical
Hmm.
changes is going to cost way more money than stopping those physical changes from happening.
Hmm. I don't know anything on the topic of it like costing more, but I do have a trans friend that did the surgery and she has no complaints. I mean, I don't understand. And she has she has male features, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just
But
something I don't think
this is why it's an
kids shouldn't be making.
individualist. It's
Just like every other person says, they all say, it's the same thing. I can't sign my life away to the military until I'm minimum 16 or 18. Law says I can't vote till I'm 18. Law says I can't have illegal sex till I'm 18, or different states or whatever. Law says I can't drink or smoke before 21. Why should minors get like? And I don't know how much research there is on these drugs, but it's like, why
there's a
would we
lot.
pay millions of dollars to put kids through this stress? You know what I'm saying? It's
So
like,
really
why
quickly,
can't you do that at 18?
a
You know
few
what I mean?
things, Kids who have severe gender dysphoria go through more stress if they're not allowed to transition. So they're actually going through more stress. The second thing is, it's not the kids making this choice. It's the parents mixed with doctors, mixed with therapists and counselors. So like,
So the kids aren't making this choice.
kids don't make their own medical decisions. They'll be involved in the process,
Right.
right? But kids don't make their own medical decisions because they can't. Because like we legally have it set up that the parents make all medical decisions for you until you're 18. In some states, you can make certain medical
Right.
decisions sooner, but typically kids don't make their own medical decisions.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like, I would count this as a medical decision. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
if there's money involved and there's like, there's a problem that needs to be solved, that's kind of what a medical thing is for. You get your leg chopped off, you go to the doctor. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you need something to make you feel better, you go to the doctor as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So like,
it's like if your kid needs a pain pill or something because he's feeling bad, yeah, for sure. But when it comes to like big changes like this, it's like you can figure that out. You can figure it out beforehand, but it's like do it at 18 when your body's.
But again, if you're waiting
growing
until
and you
you're
have
18,
more rights.
you're
You have more rights to make. You have more rights to make decisions for yourself instead of having someone else making.
But again, you're missing.
You're missing
you're missing like a really key point here, and that is that if you're waiting until you're 18, you're just going to exacerbate the issue, right? You're going to be exacerbating the.
How are is there studies that? Sorry for interrupting you. Go on. Sorry.
Well, yeah, like if you have gender dysphoria, right? So you have diagnosed gender dysphoria, and you're diagnosed at like 13. You're like you would now have to go through 5 years of immense stress, 5 years of the possibility of like depression, anxiety, things like that, instead of just saying like, okay, cool, let's help out this kid now instead of waiting.
And it's like, but that pill, that medicine, that that coverage, and I looked it up, it's a lot of money. It's like $1,000 a month. You know what I mean? So I would argue that they do have money to make. It's a lot of
it's like $1,000 a month without insurance. You know what I mean? With insurance, wait, just real quick. With insurance, it can be way cheaper than that. Some insurances cover it like 100%. So it just depends on what insurance you have.
Right. But at the same time, like I said, I mean, yeah, I'm with you. Like there could be a lot of suffering if you don't take this this pill to affirm your gender, right? But it's like, how much suffering we're talking, and where is the research that goes in hand and that proves this suffering? You know what I mean? Like, because you said you're talking about suicides or suffering. Where is the research that goes in with that? You know what I mean? Because this is an experimental drug. There isn't, a lot of research on it yet. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of money to be made.
We have 50
either way.
Years,
you're right.
Just real quick, we have 50 years worth of research on gender affirming care. So we have plenty of research on it.
50 years, but I'm saying like, where's the like? Give me the statistics on the suffering. Like you said, there's a lot of suffering that goes involved. Like, what's suffering if you don't get it or if you do get it?
Well, you just look at you would just look at the rates of depression and suicide amongst the population, so amongst the like trans population.
So what are those? If they don't get it before 18,
I don't have them off the top of my head.
You don't have them off the top of your head. Okay.
No, like the rates.
Okay, I get it with the suffering. No, I mean,
I want to say it's like I want to say you're like 40% more likely to develop depression and anxiety if you have untreated gender dysphoria, and I want to say it's like 50 to 60% likely to have suicidal ideations, if I'm remembering correctly, but I could be wrong on the rates.
Understandable. Yeah, 40 to 50 to 60%. If you don't get this care, then you are at risk of dying to your own self because of you didn't get the gender affirming care, and it didn't ease the suffering of that. Yeah, that's crazy. Sorry to hear people go through that.
Yeah, well, this is just, and again, I could be wrong on those numbers because it's been a while since I looked at them. But this is, if I'm remembering correctly, this is what the rates were. But either way, like whatever it is, if it's exacerbated to any number, like even if it was like 20%, right? Like you're 20% more likely
it's a lot of
develop
suffering,
depression, right?
absolutely.
Like yeah, and if that suffering can be mitigated with something, like why wouldn't we mitigate it?
Right, absolutely. I mean, like I said, my debate is on that money spectrum because it is a lot of money to be made, whether it's insurance or not. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, like I
do have some
like
numbers on that. But
as long as we make all healthcare free at the point of service, then you wouldn't have the issue because you couldn't.
Dude, I mean, if we had free healthcare, that'd be freaking sick. But
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That would just dissuade. That just solves the money issue there. You know what I mean?
Right, but I mean, the thing with healthcare, we're pivoting to healthcare here, is that there's a lot of people that go to school and do all this hard work, and they work like slaves to take care of people. You know what I mean? I would expect to be paid for my service if I had to go through all this. So there's a balance. There's just checks and balances to that for sure. And I mean, does Canada has free healthcare, right?
Yeah, but having free healthcare doesn't mean your doctors don't get paid.
Right,
get
right.
paid through
Absolutely. The doctors get paid either way.
Yeah,
but it
just
comes from where the money comes from and
publicly.
All that stuff. But yeah, I mean, but no, I'm totally down to ease the suffering of people who can't get through that through 18. But I mean,
then you agree?
I said the same argument is you could do it till 18. You could do it at 18 and have no worries. But I'm not saying that for the 20% that are suffering.
As I've shown from you, that isn't the case. Like I've shown for you here, like it's not the case that like you can just do it at 18 and be fine.
I mean,
in fact, I don't think I've met a trans.
You know what I'm saying? I've met people.
I just want to say personally, like this is just anecdotal, but I don't think I've met somebody in my personal life who's trans who was happy that they waited till they were 18. I think like most people I've talked to have wished they could get this care sooner.
I guess it's a base by base person thing. You know what I mean? I mean, we have our witnesses in our own lives that can tell us, what they're going through, what if they regret doing it before or not. But it's like, at the same time, I have a bigger issue with what you just said. And you said the children isn't even making the decision. You know what I mean? It's like then who is? You know what I mean? Like that's a little crazier part of that. But it would be. But no, I mean, for those people, I wish they could get that at 13 if it ease their suffering. But I mean, I think there's a lot of money to be involved because there can be a lot of false positives at that age. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of false negatives, or not false negatives, just false positives, which is people that think they want it or they don't, and they don't actually want it. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? There's a lot of money to be had from mistakes.
I'd probably just disagree with that, but that's fine. Was there anything else you want to talk about?
You disagree with the
false? You disagree with
the false positives?
Yeah, because we know what the regret rates are. The regret rates sit between like 1% and 3%. If there was this big amount of false positives, the regret rate wouldn't be between 1% to 3%.
The regret rate is 1% to 3% of all the people who do it.
Yeah. Specifically, one of the studies here that I have is of a 6-year cohort study that found only 1% regret rate.
6-year cohort, like they did it from the age of 13, and it was a 6-year thing.
The age range was. Hold on, I can tell you exactly what the age range was. It was. Here's the age range.
Because false positives, I mean, mistakes happen. We're human beings. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be some.
Yeah, the age range for this was 15.
And that's only one study, mind you.
13. Yeah, so the mean age was 13 for birth registered males and 15 for birth registered females. So they started at 13 and 15, and then they went for 6 years.
Mm-hmm. And how many people was it?
This was a cohort study of 548 people.
548 people. That's pretty good research. I mean, I'll give it that 1% to 3% is, you're pretty on the line for, the research that had to be done, like you said, that 6-month thing.
And this is just this, like,
regretting doesn't necessarily mean they're not trans, but it's like, dude, like, do you want to go with the regret of making a decision like that, or not even having the decision made for you? That's like taking away rights in general. You know what I mean? It's like, shoot.
Well, yeah, well, that's why I'm pretty for gender affirming care. So like, I don't think parents' rights to making their children's medical decisions shouldn't be left up to the state, especially state actors that are like just anti-trans because they don't.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
People. So yeah.
Yeah, the state shouldn't be taking our rights at all whatsoever. I'm totally agreeing with that. But when it comes to kids having, possible things that they regret, probably goes off for me. But it's good debate, brother. It's good that you told me that research, 1% to 3% of regret. It's pretty spot on. It's pretty spot on.
All right. Well, then you have a good rest of your day then.
See you, brother.